So what is closer to our mind? Our whole body, right? It's closer than to the bottle of water. So the same way we can impact the water in the bottle, we can impact the water in our own body. And there we can impact everything else, because every cell in our body has water. Okay. Talking about prayer, which is, you know, wonderful tool that we have to bring balance in to our mind and consequently to our body. Prayer exercises a type of magnetic action that depends on the fluidic power. So it depends on how much energy I'm putting in my prayer. If I'm praying just with words, but I'm not really engaged mentally, it doesn't work. But if I'm praying from my heart, if I really don't even say words, but my thoughts are deep, relating to the higher spirits, the higher energy, that has a wonderful, powerful, is a powerful tool. So the spirits exercise a magnetic action on individuals to overcome any insufficiency to those who pray, either by direct influence or by giving these individuals momentarily an exceptional force when they deserve this grace or when it can be useful to them. So this is for us who pray for others, not only for us, but whenever we are praying for others, we are doing something good for our fellow men, for our people. So when we do this for somebody else, we receive more power. We receive, even momentarily, we receive more energy, so that our prayer for that person can be a lot more beneficial. And here is another doctor who has been disseminating the power of prayer. He's a surgeon. And I don't know if I have time to tell his story. Very briefly, Dr. David Levy, he's a vascular neurosurgeon. And his story, you can see in his website. It's very, very interesting. I really was impressed. He decided once, he was doing this surgery, he always go and meet his patient just prior to go to the surgery. And one day he got there, and he says in his website that he kind of heard a voice, go and pray with your patient. And he said, come on. Then it happened again. It happened again. Until one day he was at the bedside of this patient, and he could not hold it anymore. He says, I have to do it, and it's today. I cannot keep on pushing this. So he was there, and he was looking for an opportunity. Okay, the daughter of the patient was there. There were nurses, people coming and going, and he wanted to do this, but he didn't want to show because he was kind of, embarrassed. How I'm going to pray with my patient, and all my colleagues are looking at me. So he was there, making time, filling up the chart very slowly, get out and in, until he was getting really desperate, because time is coming that they're going to take the patient to the operating room, and he's going to miss the opportunity. But he could not miss that opportunity. The force inside of him was too strong that he must do it, and it is today. So then finally, there was this brief moment when the patient was only with her daughter. He comes in and he holds the patient's hand and says, can I pray with you? And she says, of course. So a few minutes, he prayed that God would give him the permission to work the best and would guide him through that surgery that he was going to do. So the surgery went on, the patient went fine, After all the procedures, the daughter of the patient came to tell him, "Doctor, we were really happy that you did that. We were so much in peace, so much in serenity, that everything was really worked so wonderfully. Please keep on doing this." From that point on, now he doesn't care whoever is in the room. He says, "May I pray with you?" If the patient says no, he respects that. Depending on which religion the patient is, if the person is from a Jewish religion, he will not talk about Jesus, but he'll pray to God. If it is a Christian person, he will talk about Jesus, but he prays with every patient. And he says now that he's praying with his staff in the operating room before starting the surgery. And he's giving a talk. I actually invited him to come to our Congress, but he was already committed. He is giving talk all over the United States because he has impressed a lot of people already, and he's writing books and articles about it. So the powerful of the prayer. And just to finalize and tell you that integrative medicine, which is all that we talked about, is an old idea, because in the Gospel according to Spiritism, in the introduction, there's a summary of the teachings of Socrates and Plato. And there you already find that this which comes from Socrates and Plato. If doctors are unsuccessful in treating the majority of ailments, it is because they treat the body without treating the soul. Spiritism offers the key to the relationship which exists between the soul and the body, so proving that one of them is constantly reacting on the other. So spirit and body, body, spirit. This idea opens up a new field for science, which has already opened, integrative medicine, with the possibility of showing the real cause of certain ailments. The way of curing them becomes a lot easier. And then they finalize in the book, when science takes into account the spiritual element in the organism, then failures will be much less frequent. And that's why we are working in trying to put together all these concepts of spirituality, of spiritism, together with science, especially with the medical care, because we truly believe that this will make life a lot easier, a lot better. When we go to the doctor, we expect that the doctor will not just take 5 minutes looking at whatever we have, but they will take a little longer to listen to us, to listen deeply in what's going on in our mind, and to help us in finding a better balance spiritually, so that we can heal and be cured, maybe. So I invite you all to the Spiritist Medical Congress. The theme on the Spiritist Medical Congress is spiritual therapy in integrative medicine. And what I spoke today is just a sample of what you are going to hear in this meeting. Here are some of our, not some, all our speakers: Dr. Jeff Levin, Gary Schwartz, Marlene Nobre, who is the president of the the International Spiritist Medical Association in Brazil, Dr. Claudio Petrillo, who is, works in New York, in Connecticut, I'm sorry, Kirsten DeMello, sometimes, forgive me, I get tired, and then I try to, Kirsten DeMello is a nurse. She was born here in the United States, but she is from a Spiritist family, and she's been talking about her experience in the hospital and with her patients. Dr. Giancarlo